about KJ's death or accident, or I'm hearing the word murder. What's your name? You don't mind me using this on YouTube, do you? Okay, tell us what's on your mind. You say you want to tell a little bit. Talk to me. How do you feel about this death?
Like it's dead wrong that they covered it up. Dead wrong that they covered up. Every time it would have been a white person, somebody would have been locked up. A couple of niggas would have been locked up.
Run that by me again?
Every time it would have been a white person, a couple of niggas would have been locked up.
Yes, sir.
They putting it on the floor, hiding it, like we don't know what's going on. But you can't hide no more. We got pictures, we know what went on. Now it's trying to find out who did what.
You
got law enforcement that's involved, children involved, they hiding it. Federal agents, son involved, they hiding it. It's not cool. And we want justice. If they were LA, they'd have burnt this city down.
Today is April the 10th, 2013, and once again, I see the mother of KJ, the young man that died at the Lowndes County High School gymnasium. Law enforcement reports that he fell into wrestling mats, and as a result of that fall, he perished. And it was later in the afternoon that particular day that the coroner was called, and it has been reported by Sheriff Prine that there was no foul play in the death of this young man. But with everything that has happened in Valdosta and Lowndes County, dating back to the death of the late inmate Willie James Williams that died in 1998 at the Lowndes County Jail, questions have been over law enforcement, and those questions remain about what goes on in Valdosta when it comes to law enforcement, and when it comes to why Valdosta and Lowndes County Jail are leading the state of Georgia rather, in jail deaths. And yet, although we are leading the state of Georgia in jail deaths, even more deaths in our jail than Fulton County, a much larger county. But nevertheless, the people are still demanding justice. We have also had a famous radio jock, Egerton, at Magic 95, who died or was murdered. And yet, the community knows little to what happened to that black African-American man. There have been other deaths here in our community that are yet to be resolved. And so the question remains, as I heard on yesterday, and I've heard this morning already, what happened to KJ? And that is Kendrick Johnson. Kenneth Johnson, the father, seemed unyielding in believing that something more than a homicide took place on that dreadful morning and on that dreadful day and in this dreadful county of Lowndes County. It has been brought to the attention through street talk, but not through reliable sources, that there were possibly members of law enforcement involved in this death of this young student at Lowndes County High School. But those are only rumors, but yet it fills the streets here in Valdosta, Georgia. We're going to continue to cover the father and mother in this particular case. And although we've had problems with the news media covering the stories in the black African-American communities and reporting what takes place at public meetings here in the state of Georgia. Just a few weeks ago, Reverend Floyd Rose, the president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, he stood strong and boldly concerning the hiring of black educators and how black children and little white children need to see blacks in the position of power here in Valdosta, a metro city. And yet, nothing was published about the presentation of the president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the organization that the Honorable Martin Luther King gave so much of his time to try to bring about change for all Americans. And then in addition to that, we had the historic president, or former president of the Valdosta-Lowndes County branch of the NAACP, Lee Thurston, spoke concerning the same issue, and yet it too was a total whiteout. We had Minister John Robinson from Antioch Baptist Church. Very few ministers will speak out on the issues, but the ministers that does are not published in the papers, and so therefore, or on news media or on television, and so people began to believe that the ministers are not concerned about the people in our community. They are only concerned about collecting the monies that they gather on Sunday morning and Saturday and during church service and offerings and benevolent offerings, while the majority of people are concerned about what goes on in their community. And so we want to ask you a question. How could it be that the followers of Jesus, Muhammad, Allah, and others so quiet in times like these, when the people here in Lowndes County and Valdosta are in an outrage? And so we want to close on this note by saying to you, we believe that Valdosta could do better when it comes to disseminating the news. And we have to admit, within the last few days, we have noticed the Valdosta Daily Times seem to have put its foot down on the ground of reality and are now taking on the people's interests. And all we can do is give honor to whom honor is due. And so we want to thank the Times for what they're doing. But it's about time. Moreover, Valdosta only have one local newspaper, when a little small town like Americus, Georgia, have 4 or 5 newspapers. We want to commend the Johnson family for not just letting this be another case blowing in the wind. Once again, this is kvci.blogspot.com. George Boston Rhymes, keeping you informed, because it is indeed time that the truth be told, and we continue to wait on the G.B.R. Patrick Davis of the Examiner out of Macon, in my most humble opinion, have put together the best articles I have seen yet concerning the Brooks County School Board of Elections, the Quitman 10+2, and the Kendrick Johnson death. So we commend the people who are standing up at this time and reporting the news as it used to be. But we are against the theology that the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The truth must be told, according to St. Luke 2:38. Bye-bye.